Assalamu alaikum everyone again. Today inshallah I'm going to be teaching you about absolute value of rational numbers. That will be lesson 2.3. So let's start. The key point of this lesson is to find the absolute value of rational numbers. Okay, so we have here, as you can see, a real life application about, imagine that your school location is located at 0. Okay guys, that's my school location, and on the number line. So how far would each student be away from the school if each one unit represents 1 kilometer? Okay, so starting with Rashid, look at Rashid. Rashid is located 5 meters away, 5 kilometers away from school. So that will be 5. Khalid is located, look at Khalid, he is 2 kilometers away from school. Now, Sarah is located, look at the Sarah, look at Sarah's number. So Sarah is located negative 8 kilometers away from school. Now, Ali is located negative 3 meters away from school. Now, you guys, in your daily and real life, have you ever seen a negative distance? We all know that distance is always positive. So there is a way to change the negative 8 and negative 3 into a positive distance, and that is the core of today's lesson, which is absolute value. Okay, so we will be taking the absolute value for both numbers, for both integers, and consider it absolute value. It's like a machine. Anything comes in, comes out positive. Any negative number, any positive number comes in, comes out positive. So absolute value of negative 8, that will be positive 8, and the absolute value of negative 3, that will be positive 3. Okay, so that's today's lesson idea. What do we mean by absolute value? Basically, it's the distance between a number and 0. Okay, it's the distance between any number on the number line and 0, and distance is always positive. So absolute value, it's the distance, and distance is always positive. Keep that info in your head, okay, in your brain. So moving on. So this is the meaning of absolute value. Like I said, it's the distance between the number and 0 on the number line. Okay, and distance, look at that. The absolute value of 4 is 4. The absolute value of negative 3 is 3. So any type of number, whether it was a decimal, a fraction, positive, negative, whatever comes in equals to that same number, but positive. Okay, guys? So let's move on to solving some questions. Here it's telling you the question is direct, find the absolute value. So what's the absolute value of negative 9? That will be positive 9. Or you can put 9. It's the same as 9. You can write like this or like this. Okay, negative 5.5, that will be 5.5. 14 and 1/3, negative 14 and 1/3, that will be 14 and 1/3. Okay, again, you can put the positive sign or you can not put it. It's totally optional, because we know that a sign and a number without any sign, that means, by default, it's a positive number. So let's move on here. Absolute value of 5 3/4, it will be the same number, positive 5 3/4. 82.5, that will be 82.5. Negative 7.75, that will be 7.75. Okay, guys, so that's it for absolute value. Think of it as a machine. Whatever comes in, comes out happy. Okay, guys, it comes out positive. Okay, think of ice cream machine. Yeah, makes you happy all the time. So let's move on now to using the absolute value to find which account balance, which account they have the greatest overdrawn amount. They're in debt, basically. They owe the bank money. Okay, so let's see. In order to do that, first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the absolute value for both. I'm going to take the absolute value for account A, absolute value for account B, and then I'm going to decide which one owes the bank a lot of money. So directly, actually, without taking the absolute value, you guys can decide which one, is in debt, real debt. So negative 5.42, that will be $5.42. absolute value of negative 35.76, that will be $35.76. So which account has an overdrawn amount? That will be account B. So when you compare them, this one is greater. This one is greater than account A, so account B has the greatest overdrawn amount. The same thing we're going to do here. Account A, we're going to take both, for both of them, absolute value. So that will be $6.47, and that will be $2.56. So which one is the greatest? This one. So which account has the greatest overdrawn amount? That will be account A. Okay, so this is how you solve these types of questions in your book. You take their absolute values and then you compare which one has the greatest overdrawn amount. Okay, I hope it's clear for task 1. Now, let's move on to task 2. Okay, guys, so task 2, the key idea, the second idea of this lesson is to order the numbers from least to greatest. Now, before I start ordering, first of all, you need to find the value of each number and then you order. Okay, guys, because like that, it could be confusing. But when you find the value and then you order it, that will be for you clear enough. So first, let me find the value of negative 12. That will be positive 12. 11 and 3/4, it's going to be the same. Negative 20.5, that will be 20.5. 2, that will be 2. Okay, now I'm going to order according to the number line. I don't need to draw it because, you know, positive numbers are, the numbers are really clear. The least one will be the absolute value of 2. Then you can write it 2 less than, or you can write it the absolute value of 2 less than, you know, anything that suits you. But let's stick to the book's way. They're writing it as an absolute 2, the absolute of 2, then comma. That means it is the least one. Then comes after that, I have 11 and 12, but this will be 11 and 3/4 is less than, okay, less than the absolute value of negative 12. Okay, guys, here I'm writing, again, I'm writing it as the way the question is presenting it to me. Okay, so this is how my answer should look like. The question gave you the numbers with the absolute value, so your answer should include the absolute value. Okay, so absolute value of 2, then 11, then 12, and finally the absolute value of negative 20.5. That's it. This is how you order from least to greatest. Okay, guys, moving on to the second one, you will do the same. First, you will find the value of each, then you're gonna order. Absolute value of 10, 10, negative 3, that will be 3, 0, that will be a 0. So I forgot, guys, to discuss with you what's the absolute value of 0. Absolute value of 0, it's neither negative nor positive. You know, it's 0 because on the number line you haven't moved anywhere. You stayed in your place, which is 0. Okay, so please don't go and put positive 0. Don't go and write it like that or like that. There is no such a thing as a positive or negative. You basically did not move anywhere. You stayed in your spot. Okay, next one, that will be 5.25, positive. And now let's order them from least to greatest. The least one will be, obviously, it's the absolute value of 0. Then we got the absolute value of negative 3. Then we got the absolute value of negative 5.25. And finally, the absolute value of 10. And that's it. Okay. Now, let's move on to solving some real-life applications. We got here a word problem. That's question 16 in your book. We got 2 scuba divers are swimming below sea level. Okay, so we got you guys here. Here is our sea level. Okay, the location of the divers can be represented by, since it's below, that means the distance, that means their locations will be represented by a negative. But of course, the distance is positive. So the first one is located here, negative 30. The second one is a bit more below. he is located at negative 42 feet. So which measure represents the one that is closest? Okay, which one is the closest to the sea level? As you can see from the picture, that negative 30 feet will be the closest. Okay, the closest means the smallest in this case. Which one is more close to the sea level? You can take their absolute values and decide, but it's very clear from the picture which one has the closest, which one has the closest distance to the sea level. Okay, let's move on to solving some more real life applications. We have here, this is an higher order thinking question. It's telling you that let A be any rational number. Now, is the absolute value of A different if A is positive or negative number? Well, we can certainly tell him that the absolute value of A is always sorry guys, I made a mistake. Is always positive. Whether that number was a positive or a negative, the absolute value, it's always positive, regardless of the sign of the number. Okay, guys? So you need to write here a little bit more, make your reasoning make sense. You need to write a couple of more words. But for me, no distance, no space. So plus it's difficult writing with the pen. So yeah, I'll leave that to you. Okay, so here we have another real life application. It's saying that the table shows the scores at the end of the first round of the golf. We got a golf tournament, guys. I'm sure you all know what's golf. The scores are relative to par. Okay, so par is like an average in golf. So we got golfer Kate, golfer Sam, golfer Lisa, and golfer Carlos. They scored Kate -6, poor Kate, Sam 5, Lisa 2, and Carlos -3. So the par is like the average. It's like a reference. It's represented as a 0 on our number line. Okay, using the absolute value, show the distance from each score, how much the distance is from par. So we're gonna start with Kate. We're gonna take her distance. Her score is -6. So her distance will be 6 points away from the par. Then I'm going to go to the Sam. The absolute value of 5, that will be 5 points away from the par. And then Carlos, Lisa 2, sorry, that will be 2. And then -3, that will be 3 scores away from par. You need to write this sentence. Okay, guys? Now, part B is telling you the golfer with the least score wins. Oh, so actually Kate is not so poor after all. So which one is, who's the winner? That will be Kate, because she has the least score. Okay, the least score, that will be Kate. Her score is -6, so when you take the absolute value, it's going to be 6. Okay, I think that means, she scored the highest distance, because, distance is positive, so this is why she won. Okay, to clarify the idea more, let's move on here to Alberto and Rebecca. Okay, so Alberto and Rebecca toss a horseshoe at a stake. Whoever's horseshoe is closer to the stake wins a point. So let's start with 38. What integer, they're telling you here integer, best describes the location of Alberto's horseshoe? So where is Alberto? It's 3 in the front. As you can see here, 3 is located to the left of 0. So that means the integer that describes Alberto, that will be what? -3. And for Rebecca, she is 2 feet past the stake. So look at the number line, it's located to the right of it. So that will be +2. 2. So that's it. So when they're asking you about an integer, that means it's a whole number. It could be positive or it could be negative. Okay, guys? Let's move on. Next, Alberto says that negative 3 is less than 2. So he wins a point. Okay. This is the reason now it's going to tell you why Kate has, she won the game. Now he's saying because it's negative, negative 3 is less than 2, that means he wins a point. But actually, here we're talking about distance, and distance is always positive. So when you take the absolute value of negative 3 and the absolute value of 2, that will be 3 and that will be 2. 3 is greater, okay? We can never have a negative distance. So 3 is way farther away from 0. So that means, and Alberto wins, not Rebecca. Okay, I hope it's clear. Find the distance from Alberto's horseshoe to Rebecca's horseshoe. So we will, again, we're going to do the same. The distance, it means I need all of this distance. So I need to count the steps, how many steps are positive 2 away from negative 3 or negative 3 away from positive 2, how many units. Call it what you want. The easiest way is just to take their absolute value of 2 plus the absolute value of negative 3, just add them, find the total distance. So that will be 2 plus 3, that will be 5 feet. Okay, so the total distance will be 5 feet away from, no, not away from, just 5 feet. Okay, guys? So that's it for this real life application. When you see a word problem, you think it's hard, but when you guys read it, it's actually not that difficult. When you're able to, if you are able to solve the first part of it, yeah, it's just a piece of cake. Okay, I guess that's it. Oh no, we still got one more question here. Now here they're telling you, explain why negative 7 has a greater absolute value than the absolute value of 6. So why is negative 7 has a greater absolute value? Why? Because when you take the absolute value of negative 7 and the absolute value of 6, that will be 7 and that will be 6. So that means 7, according to the number line, you got 0. You got here is 6 and, here is negative 7. Just according to the number line, it is 1 unit extra away from 0. That's why it has the greatest absolute value. It's, just 1 unit away from 0, more distance. Okay? So, yeah, you need to express that in words. I guess that's it for today, guys. So, I hope you now absolute value, it's more clear to you. Actually, it's the easiest lesson on the planet. So please feel free to solve the book questions and learn more about it, get to know more ideas. So that's it today. Inshallah, see you when I see you in the next lesson.